Congresswoman McBride. My name is Allison. Here. And I'm one of those Americans who believe that the U.S. should be leading the world in helping the poor, but unfortunately, we're usually ranked around second to last among the wealthiest nations in per capita giving to the world's poor. So my question is, what are your thoughts on this issue, and if you have any plans to address it?
Sure, well that's a really great question, and I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you because I think supporting people around the world as the world's economic, military, and diplomatic superpower is not only morally right, it's in our interest. And unfortunately, right now we're moving backward. Not only do we, as you mentioned, prior to the last couple of months, give less per capita internationally to humanitarian aid than other countries, including other countries that aren't as wealthy as we are. But we are doing so even less now. We've seen the U.S. Agency for International Development closed and the functions of it added into the State Department and the budget for it diminished even further. Right now, there is a global struggle between democracy and authoritarianism. And that is a struggle that is not being won in most places or lost in most places on a battlefield. With the sole exception of Ukraine and a handful of other places that are either in conflict or on the verge of conflict, most places where that struggle is coming to a head, it's in the hearts and minds of voters in that country. People are choosing authoritarianism. And while democracy is not perfect, it is without question both the greatest in human history, the greatest contributor to economic growth and opportunity, and the greatest guarantor of individual liberty and individual rights that we have ever seen. And our aid to other countries, our support, our moral capital and credibility in the world rests on our willingness and ability to help people in need. We do not win that struggle through the power of our military. We do not win over hearts and minds by bullying other countries. We win over the hearts and minds of people around the world in that struggle between a democracy and authoritarianism as they consider what form of government they want. We win them over through the power of our example. We win them over by being a friend, by supporting them, by empowering them. We can't impose democracy on other countries, and we shouldn't, but we can empower it and help it flourish in places. Because one necessary prerequisite for democracy is that people aren't hungry, that people aren't out of a job, that people have safety and security. Because when they have those basic needs met, they aren't as susceptible to strong men who can come in and say, I alone can fix it. That economic security is the foundation of free people. And when we recede from our place in the world, when we step back, not only are we shirking that responsibility and that opportunity to be a moral leader in this world, to win over the hearts and minds of people around the world as a nation, to not only allow democracy to flourish there, but to help them be allies of ours, to encourage them to be allies of ours. When we step away from that, other countries fill the void. Authoritarian regimes fill the void. And so it is in our interest, but it is also the right thing to do. When your neighbor's house is on fire, you don't squabble over the cost of the hose or the water in that hose before you try to help them. We are all people. Whether that person lives across, we are all neighbors. Whether that person lives across the street, across a state, or across an ocean from you. And I know this isn't always the winning message in our politics. But there are people who are alive today because of U.S. humanitarian aid. Millions of lives have been saved by an international development program called PEPFAR, which was established by a Republican president, George W. Bush, to address the epidemic of AIDS in Africa. Millions of lives have been saved. And now there are people who have had their lives saved because of PEPFAR, who, because we are no longer there, have ceased being able to access life-sustaining medications and are on the verge of dying. There are people who live in circumstances that are so difficult for us to imagine that they are incomprehensible to many of us. But there are people who are living in places around this world who our support for them is the difference between life and death. How can we look ourselves as individuals or as a nation in the mirror if we say, your problem is not ours? Even beyond the fact that it's in our interest to help, even beyond the fact that stopping diseases in other countries helps to keep our health safe and protected. Beyond all of that, where is our empathy gone? Where is our sense of responsibility to our fellow humans in a global society gone when we turn our backs on people and say, you figure it out? We have the means and the capability of helping you, but we just don't care. And that to me is an absolute moral failing if we let that happen.